Their stories not always heard for survivors of child abuse that can add to the pain.
Who is going to believe a 9-year-old, 10-year-old going and saying, well, this is what happened with me? Nobody would.
And in many cases, those who are most able to help don't.
The person who committed this heinous, horrible crime is one that I gave more to anyone else on this planet, and that is a burden that I will carry with me for a very long time.
But with help from law enforcement and public leaders, justice can be served and lives can be saved.
I'm just feeling that finally we're accomplished something.
In this 360 in-depth report, we're taking a hard look at child abuse cases around the state and talking through tough ways to prevent more children from suffering a similar fate. Thanks so much for joining us for this 360 in-depth report. I'm Jason Grenauer. The Mark Redwine case is shining a light on the issue of child abuse in Colorado and beyond. Redwine is accused of child abuse that resulted in the death of his 13-year-old son Dylan 9 years ago in La Plata County in southwestern Colorado. His trial begins this week. In Colorado Springs, Letitia Stauk awaits trial. She is accused of killing her son Gannon in another alleged child abuse case that garnered attention here in Colorado and nationwide. But this report isn't just about the Stauk or Redwine cases specifically. It's about the victims' stories that need to be told but haven't been. At the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, child abuse hotlines saw a 13% increase in calls when compared to 2019 numbers. But once the shutdowns began, the number of calls decreased while texts increased. A study published in JAMA Pediatrics Journal shows the number of calls from Child Protective Service workers, those decreased, but landlords and families made more calls. But those sorts of tips are helpful and can sometimes be the difference between life and death. Children are not likely to speak up if there's abuse going on at home. That goes for both child abuse and domestic abuse. Caroline Cooley, a family attorney at 4th Street Law Firm, explains the heartbreaking dilemma for children in toxic households.
When they feel, usually the aggressor parent, if they feel like if they defend the parent who is not the aggressor will no longer love them. And so often what happens is they will defend or lie or say something is happening with the non-aggressor parent because they're so scared that if they say something to make the aggressor parent be held responsible, it will be their fault that that parent is no longer a part of their life.
Cooley says children don't have the life experience to understand they're being manipulated by the abuser. She admits spotting the emotional or mental abuse in a victim can be hard to determine, especially since we've been working remotely over the last year. That's why it's so important for the community to be just as aware of potential abuse as the next person. And while tips to hotlines increased from families and landlords, those two groups don't have to report anything. At least they won't go to court if they don't. State law requires doctors, dentists, therapists, police officers, firefighters, and even pharmacists to report suspicious information to the Colorado Department of Human Services. They all undergo training every year to learn the warning signs of abuse and neglect and their obligations to report them. If a mandatory reporter is made aware of possible abuse and doesn't report it, they can face civil and even criminal penalties. It's even worse for medical professionals who could be put on probation and even lose their medical license for failing to report abuse. But that mandatory reporting standard can, in some cases, have consequences for just the average parent. Take the Courtney Judd case, for example. Judd, a mother from Castle Rock, was struggling to help her oldest son who had emotional issues. When Judd told a therapist about an incident where she unintentionally bruised her son while trying to restrain him, the therapist reported her. Lawmakers have since introduced legislation to amend the criminal code. Under the bill's provisions, state law would reflect that a person does not commit child abuse if the person is exercising reasonable judgment. That bill, however, was postponed indefinitely last year. The heartbreaking case of Ty Tesserero demonstrated how crucial it is to take abusive patterns as seriously as possible. A Denver 7 investigation found the court system failed to hear Ty's mother's pleas for help over the course of 15 months before his father murdered him. That man, Anthony Tesserero, was a convicted domestic abuser who killed Ty before taking his own life. A Douglas County judge gave Ty's mother custody, but not before the father had one last night with Ty. The two were found dead on the night following that judge's ruling. Since then, Colorado started a new task force to handle domestic abuse cases. Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski explains how it could help prevent stories like Ty's from happening again.
That will make it the law of Colorado.
In a matter of seconds, after a Colorado mother's more than year-long fight,
I'm just feeling that finally we're accomplished something.
Governor Jared Polis signed a bill into law that will better protect children from domestic abuse. State lawmakers took action after the murder of 10-year-old Ty Tesserero. Ty's father killed him in a murder-suicide back in 2019.
Really and truly, this is for Ty.
The new law creates a domestic violence task force that will come up with a new definition of child abuse, one that includes domestic violence in state law.
Definitions matter because if we don't have a definition, then how do we fix it?
Jing Tesserero lost her son. Nothing can be harder than losing a child, but she was able to find some meaning and drive to make improvements with that.
We first told Jing's story in September of 2019.
And nobody wanted to investigate.
Our more than year-long investigation uncovered system-wide gaps in how human services dealt with domestic violence abusers, especially when that abuse isn't physical, as was the case with Jing and Ty.
You brought this story to the public.
I need to know that what happened to Ty, it meant something. It's not just a death of a child.
For Jing, this moment is for her son Ty.
He probably would be happy to see this because this would be his way of trying to help other kids.
I'm Denver 7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski.
You can learn more about Ty Tesserero's case right here on Denver 7 Plus. Our documentary tells the detailed story of control, harassment, and a 10-year-old caught in the middle. With firsthand insight from Jennifer Kovaleski, whose reporting sparked that change in Colorado state law. Just hit your back button and search for Ty Tesserero to watch now. Many survivors of child abuse don't ever get the chance to tell their stories. But for those that do, they often find the system simply can't help them, even if they have a serious case. That's the story heard so often from victims of child sexual abuse within the Catholic Church. 3 years ago, a grand jury investigation in Pennsylvania sent shockwaves throughout the country and really the world. It showed how the Catholic Church had been fully aware of and often covered up cases involving clergy sexually abusing children over several decades. Not only did the church keep records of what they learned over the years, but if a clergyman was suspected of abuse, they'd usually just be transferred to another church within the Catholic diocese, most of the time to other states. In Colorado, a state-led investigation revealed 52 priests were responsible for sexually assaulting more than 200 children between the 1950s and 1999 alone. That include beloved, recognizable figures in the Denver community, such as Father Charles Woodrich, better known as Father Woody. He was well known in the Mile High City for his charitable work. Around the world, the Catholic Church has already paid out tens of millions of dollars in compensation to survivors. Here in Colorado, the Denver Archdiocese has paid more than $7 million to 77 victims. There are at least 4 more who are eligible for compensation. Since the scandal broke 3 years ago, the Catholic Church has implemented a mandatory reporting policy requiring clergy to report any claims of sexual abuse to a superior. That was an order that came from Pope Francis himself. But because many of those claims were made decades ago, most survivors haven't been able to sue their predators or the church. This is due to the statute of limitations for sexual assault claims. If someone has evidence of being sexually assaulted, they have a set period of time to file a civil lawsuit. In Colorado, victims had 6 years after their 18th birthday to file suit. If the claims were not brought up within that window, the courts would reject the case. But Governor Jared Polis signed Senate Bill 73 into law earlier this year, eliminating the civil statute of limitations for sexual assault cases. Starting next year, there will be no limit of time to report abuse or file a lawsuit. Attorney Caroline Cooley says getting rid of the statute of limitations for sexual assault will give victims time to come to terms with their abuse and prevent future generations from having to experience it as well.
To say that you need to have a child who has the wherewithal to be able to understand what statute of limitations even means, and I better get to it or that person is not going to be held responsible, when that abuse will affect that individual for the rest of their lives. And if we have a cycle of abuse, it could then continue with future children.
Governor Polis also enacted a policy in 2019 to combat reporting failures. It extends the statute of limitations for failing to report suspected child abuse from 18 months to 3 years. The bill's sponsors originally wanted 5 years. It came about after a former middle school principal and assistant principal accused of failing to report abuse ended up facing no charges because the statute of limitations had run out. Well, today there are several initiatives in the works at the national level as well to combat child abuse. One of them, Colorado Senator John Hickenlooper introduced legislation in late May that would help states prevent child abuse by modifying the community-based child abuse prevention grants. Doing so would clarify what states can and can't do with those funds. It would also encourage coordination among local programs, agencies, and other providers to develop preventative support programs. That bill passed out of a Senate committee last week. If you suspect a child is being abused in your community, don't wait. Call or text the Colorado Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline. That number is 1-844-364-5437. Your tips will always remain anonymous. And for more resources and to review any of the stories in this 360 in-depth report, head on over to our website, thedenverchannel.com. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jason Grenauer.